Here, Trinity Rodman aiming to create own legacy at World Cup as she looks to escape NBA legend and madcap dad Dennis Shadow. So what is crazy about this is I actually know very loosely, like know is shouldering a lot, but I slightly know Trinity Rodman. I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club, and she used to go to the Boys and Girls Club. So I would go and I would pick her up, and she was, and obviously a bunch of other kids, and she was there. She was one of the kids that went to the Boys and Girls Club in Orange County, and that's where I grew up and I worked. And let me tell you something. Even at, because I think when I first started working where she went to the Boys and Girls Club, I think she was in second grade. About like by third grade, sincerely, you could tell that she was going to be a top professional. Like, I've been saying that she's going to be the face of US soccer, and I know the standard that US soccer has, and I know that Trinity can push it to heights, or like maintain their winning ways, basically. um I think she's going to be better than Alex Morgan, which maybe isn't going to be the most difficult. And I think here they're tapping her up to um, take the spot of Megan Rapinoe, uh, which I think she can do. Like, I sincerely, like, from early childhood, like, I was like, this girl's like just different. And obviously, it helps that her father was a stud of a professional athlete, which again, maybe now, some of his questions are, some of his actions are kind of questionable with the Kim Jong Un stuff, or whatever you want to say, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he was a professional athlete, obviously, and he wasn't a slouch either. He was on the Bulls, obviously, as you can see there, with my teamed up with Michael Jordan, but Trinity Rodman definitely can and will create her own legacy. And yeah, I mean, I don't that's all there really is to say. She is our best player, I think. Obviously, I'm biased. Like that, I let everybody know my bias. I am very biased. But she's it, man. She's a killer. She's an absolute stud, and I remember her mom telling me too. Because I mean, it wasn't a secret that she was insanely good, right? Like it's really obvious. It's one of those talents where it's just, it hits you in the face. It's anybody can see it. Like, if you even remotely like soccer, as it's called here, football, whatever, like, you can tell, like, oh, she's different. And I remember her mom would tell me that whenever she would have games, like, she was like, literally, she would get followed. The mom would get followed by like different scouts and different clubs, like trying to recruit her, basically. And her mom is such a nice person, and just really did right by her kids, and she was a big part of their lives growing up. And she's, like I said, yeah, she's an amazing person. I got to know her very briefly, but yeah, she's it. Like, Trinity Rodman will be US's best soccer player for, it says she's 21. Yeah, like 10 years. Easy. I mean, she's got it, man. She's it. And I think if I was the US, I would definitely use her um much more, and make her more face of the campaign. Like, she is going to be that. She's an amazing soccer player. She's so good. Um, and I've actually been watching some of the lead up as well to the World Cup, and obviously they will be playing today. But all I can say is I'm a giant fan. I wish her the best. She doesn't need it. She's a baller. She's a killer, and hopefully they will win her first world. She'll win her first World Cup. I think that this is her first time going. So And honestly, like I said, I've been calling it. I think she got drafted pretty early as well. Um, but now she's phenomenal. Already an 18 cap international, the California native. Told ya. No, I'm just kidding. Tip to be Megan Rapinoe's successor once she retires at the end of 2023. Has declared she's aiming to create her own legacy in the sporting world. Washington Spirit forward, who is the second youngest player in the squad, has found the back of the net 4 times for the U.S. national team. 2 of those strikes came in a recent friendly win over Wales, which I saw. One of them was well struck. The other one was, I think, a tap in. Good poaching instinct. Rodman believes helping U.S. claim a 3rd consecutive World Cup will see her finally shake off the reputation that she's only got to where she was because of her surname. I think this is the only thing I'll say. I think that, she was, like I said, she was built. Like, you could tell she was way ahead of any other kids, just athletically, you can tell. That's the only thing that you could say, yeah, she's there because of her dad, in the sense that, her genetics, her body. But no, she's it, man. Her talent is absolutely undeniable. As well as playing alongside. I mean, obviously it's kind of a big shadow in the sense that, he was a professional athlete. He won championships. He was very, what would you say? He was very, what's the polite way to say it? Polarizing, maybe? Very outlandish, just generated a lot of attention. She does have that to deal with. Yeah, not to mention he once called North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, a friend for life. Again, it's just little things like that. People know him like that. Of course, his 21-year-old daughter knows all about her dad's antics as well as his basketball heroics. However, she insists that she can build her own legacy separate to that. Speaking to ESPN, she said that her 5-time NBA champ father, my dad has made a lot of mistakes through his career. I don't want to say the wild child, but he was. Yeah. And there she is with her father. I think being a woman, coming from the Rodman name, coming from the NBA legacy of Dennis Rodman, was important that I didn't want the comments of she's only here because of that. She's only here because there's potential in her last name. That has always been important to me and will continue to be. But at the end of the day, I want the name to be Trinity Rodman, and she earned it herself. Not because she has that last name, but because she earned it her way. Which I don't fucking doubt. Which obviously I didn't follow her career maybe as extensively as I could have, but no, I mean her talent is, she earned that. Her talent is through the roof. Rodman has also insisted that she expects to win the World Cup, having been part of the USA squad that won the CONCACAF championship last year, as well as 2, she believes, cups. She remarks, my expectations are that we're the most ruthless team. We're never going to give up, and we're going to get the title. Obviously, the team has changed so much over the last couple of World Cups, even the last couple of months, but this team is something special. We want it more than ever, so I expect a gold medal. Love that. And Rodman has also revealed she has taken aspects out of her dad's name when Dennis labeled as the best rebounding forward in NBA history. That is true. Commenting on how she's taken his basketball skills out of the pitch. It's hunting in front of the goal. It's hunting when you lose the ball, for sure. And I think that's a huge part of my game. Regains, track back. She does a good job. Again, I really just remember this past Wales game. She was active, and that's always important. When you're not finding that right pass or you're not doing whatever, that you are tracking back and playing defense. Shin, something that pops up, even if he wasn't the first guy under the basket or he was the next to Shaq, who's way bigger, way taller, he was going to get the rebound. Yeah. Timing, anticipation, body movement. He was a freak of nature and an insane athlete, but at the end of the day, I think he was one of the smartest players at the time. He knew the game for sure. Rodman's and he was a great defensive player. Just tenacious, absolutely tenacious. He was long. Um, I mean, again, yeah, of course, a 5-time champ. That doesn't happen accidentally. Um, yeah. So they're gonna start playing again. That is just my little bit. I do know her just a hair, so I just wish her the best, man. And I'm only watching this, and I've been streaming during the Women's World Cup. But I really just want to see the U.S. in general and her even more. Like I said, it's you kind of know her. I like that. When she scored, a couple of my old coworkers as well was like sent me a message and they were like, "Oh, is that Trinity? Like the one that went to the club?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And another friend that follows sports a little bit better, he was like, "Oh, I was showing her those moves or what, just we all kind of know." And I hope she knows that we're all rooting for her. So, yeah, just bring it home.